Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And SlasheR telling all last night about the Los Angeles Thieves situation this past season, potentially feeling a bit mistreated by the organisation, but also realising before the season pretty much even began that he was going to be replaced at some point or another by Octane Sam. Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, this to Mana Chicken, new recruit of course, so Mind Freak, definitely it will find here in some sort of Black Ops 4 channel. Seems to be a pretty popular game as of late to play during this off-season. Not sure how similar this is going to be to Call of Duty Vanguard though. Only a couple of weeks away now really from that game actually launching on the 5th of November, I am pretty sure. Thanks to a couple of those of you who pointed this out to me on Hex's Instagram. Tomorrow's going to be crazy. Obviously this is a while ago now, so seemingly nothing has happened of this as of yet. But still, we'll have to see what OpTic are playing at, because I'm pretty sure we heard from Ben on the flank. Like he said that he'd heard that the announcement for the OpTic Dallas stuff was coming sometime end October, like near Halloween. So maybe within the next week or so we get some more hints, and then the announcement at some point or another. We're pretty sure on the 21st, I think was the tweet that New York did when they were kind of like hinting at Neptune. Maybe they'll announce on the 21st, so there's a couple more announcements still to come from teams that are rumoured. And then after that we've got Paris and the whole Washington stuff, which certainly is raising some questions the last couple of days. This also from Scump, you know, Cowboys fan, yes, says Tim the Tapman. Not yet Winky Face, because, you know, Dallas Cowboys, OpTic Scum moving to Dallas. Of course, like they're already based in Texas, but representing Dallas rather than Chicago. I don't know, some people really get into it, you know how it is. Octane, one of Octane's many burner accounts here in the replies. This also wanted to point out, because last night we talked about the Washington DC Demon Cats, which I'm not gonna lie, over the last 24 hours, it's kind of grown on me a little bit. But this from Grant in the replies. He's the Vice President of Esports Business over at Washington Justice, and the same ownership group that potentially is looking to get into this spot. As fun as tonight has been, don't want folks reading into this too much. Similar to many other esports organizations out there, we have a number of accounts, names, and trademarks that we can potentially use for a variety of reasons, not necessarily tied to the CDL or a specific use case. Smiley face. So not necessarily denying that they're considering it. It's you know, maybe what this, you could read between the lines here and say, okay, maybe they are thinking about Demon Cats, maybe they're kind of gauging response and thinking what it could be. I think Zoomer was saying yesterday on the flag about some crazy names that New York were floating around, like the Pizza Rats. And if you guys watch that episode, it's pretty funny. Of course, I'll leave the entire thing linked down below, because we're going to dive into a few bit of specific detail here in just a second. This, of course, also because they talk about the Demon Cats, right, the possibilities, methods, that being said, he's on the call at the same time, and you know, he drops a bit of a meow in here to kind of hint that maybe it's a possibility the Methods is going to go over and join that Washington team.
I was gonna talk about that after the Reddit questions, but we could talk about that now if you want.
We should do that before the Reddit questions.
All right, let's do it.
Meow.
Yeah, he's meowing and he's on demon mode and all kinds of.
I wasn't at my mic. That wasn't even me. Meow.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't even you. Well, listen, let's switch over screen.
So SlasheR joins the flank last night and pretty much gives a rundown of the entire situation he's been through the last several months in the league. And firstly, it's crazy to think about really that a lot of these pro players, like you just see their kind of like professional player persona, like you see the SlasheRs on the timeline, you see the Claces on the timeline. You don't necessarily see that the, you know, the Austin Lidercoats and the James Eubanks behind the scenes and how they're dealing with it. You know, everyone's got their personal issues, personal problems that they're going through. And you know, crazy to really think about what was happening with SlasheR behind the scenes this year, because as he's going to dive into, I'll share the clip in a couple of seconds here, his grandfather passing away before the season began, then his mother getting diagnosed with cancer. It is just really horrible how life can just like struck you with like all this stuff at the same time, like everything seems to go wrong at once. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure he went on to say that his mother's like recovered and they caught it early enough, and as far as they know right now, everything's moving in the right direction, which is fantastic to hear. But of course, like this put him in a difficult spot this season, right, when maybe, you know, the personal stuff was weighing on his mind, wasn't performing as maybe he should have been, but also not necessarily being super transparent with the team. Like he doesn't necessarily like to get into personal stuff, likes to kind of deal with it on his own, and maybe that meant that the team was kind of more willing to look at these performances that weren't necessarily the best and say, yeah, SlasheR, maybe you haven't been the best teammate and the best you know, individual player on the team anyway, we're going to bench you from the squad. And then how everything followed up from that, right, all the roster changes. SlasheR at the end of this you know, few minutes of clip is going to go on to say the fact that like, look, all these changes, the 10 odd changes are not going to help make a winning team, right? They're not a good idea. Like and talked about how JCat was one of his best friends, not necessarily the case anymore because of how things went down this season, right, and the difficulties he felt with, you know, the way that the organization was making these decisions. But even going on to say that before that, when he was initially benched off the team, there was no real indication from them that he wasn't going to be coming back. They certainly were indicating, we'll have a look at the tweets here in a second, that yes, he would be returning to the team at some point, as he did eventually, but that was only because of, I suppose, other circumstances. It seems like they kind of indicated that he was going to be coming back, but over time it transpired that wasn't really the case. So maybe some, some poor transparency from either end as well. And then also discussing the fact that before the season even began, pretty much 8 months or so ago, back in February, if not even longer, like he was pretty much convinced that Octane was going to be joining this team instead of him. So he was pretty much fighting for his life in it, well, to get another spot in the CDL before the season even really kicked off, which also kind of crazy to think about.
So at the beginning of the season, it was a little bit before we started playing, my grandfather passed away, which is obviously devastating.
I'm sorry to hear that, bro.
I had to take some time. Yeah. Thank you, I appreciate it. I had to take some time off. Like I took like a weekend or so. I went home. At the time, it was around the time we picked up Venom. I received a phone call from my mom, and anyone who knows me knows I'm really close with my mom. I talk to her day in and day out. She's really close to the scene, keeps up with it and all that. And I found out she was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh wow!
And that obviously hit me really hard at the time. I was away from my family in Dallas to play the game, obviously online. I couldn't really go back and visit them at the time. And that was just a scary moment for me, man. Like I also had a conversation with management, said like, hey, like look, I'm dealing with personal stuff. I didn't get into it too much because like I said, I don't like opening up. This is kind of the first time for me that I'm opening up about things.
Yeah.
And I told them like, listen, I'm dealing with some stuff on the personal side of things. Like if I'm ever, getting out of line, please like reach out to me. If I'm ever not giving full effort, please reach out to me right away. Like so I can kind of take a 5-minute break, snap out of it, and come back and not waste the rest of the scrim. Like I woke up to a phone call at like 10, 11 o'clock saying that, they were going to bench me. And you guys know how I am, bro. Like I always have a lot to say. I think you could ask probably the management on that phone call. I think I only said okay and all right. Like I was literally so like caught off guard and so like mind blown that I literally didn't even like plead my case, which I kind of regret because I think I could have probably talked my way out of it. And one thing I will say too, I forgot to mention this earlier. When I was benched, I was under the impression that like I remember specifically them saying on the phone that this is not like, well, like Donnie got dropped. Like that was the way it was perceived, like he was no longer going to be on the team. They were like, it's not going to be like that. Like we're going to give this a run and see how it goes. So I was under the impression at first that I was coming back. You know what I mean? Like even their tweet, I'm pretty sure said we're going to give him a break. Like people thought I stepped away on my own for a little bit.
Yeah,
which,
the tweet
again,
was worded weird.
Yeah, again, like bro, if you know me, like I'm not doing that. Like
yeah.
Tom and I were on this show, like Austin's come back for champs. Like
yeah, we said that. Yeah, we said that. Just because the way they worded it, how like they worded it as if like you were just taking time to yourself. Like that's kind of how they worded it.
Yeah, it was very odd because then like you said, like were you in contact with them? I was not at all for a long time. So then after like 3-4 weeks went by, I'm like, okay, that's not just a break. Like I'm chalked. It is what it is. Like because I tried to make moves to join other teams, nothing really like panned out, and so I was like, okay, this season's just over.
Yeah.
And it helped my stock so much going into the off season because I knew I was gonna have to make a move because I knew 8 months ago they were picking up Octane. You know what I mean? Like I had that feeling 8 months ago.
Everybody knew. I
had that feeling I was out.
I thought it was
8
a
months
meme.
ago.
I thought it was just kind of like a troll.
There's just a vibe, bro. You get, and I just knew I wasn't gonna be on the team, and Octane was gonna be on the team a long ass time ago. Yeah, we kind of talked about the first one a little bit throughout the show. Obviously, I could have been way better towards the beginning. I think 10 roster changes doesn't help out either. That is a terrible way to have success in any Call of Duty game. You're never going to win. You're going to be pretty inconsistent. And just the overall work ethic of the team was pretty poor, in my opinion.
So definitely hinting at some serious mismanagement here, really, from the Los Angeles Thieves side. Of course, you could argue that maybe SlasheR should have been more upfront with the issues that he was going through, but maybe they still would have benched him regardless. And of course, this is what they did going into the Stage 2 major. Kenny, TJ, Venom, and Drazah. Drazah playing incredibly well in challenges. They bring him in as we give SlasheR some time off. This is kind of how they phrased it, saying that, yeah, SlasheR, maybe he is dealing with some personal stuff, which of course seemingly was the case, right, as he's now kind kind of described and put this out there, and yeah, okay, give him some time off. But this sounds like, and sounded like to SlasheR as well, that, I mean, yes, maybe he could have argued his case a little bit more when he was getting benched, but still, it sounds to SlasheR, and it sounds to pretty much all of us at the time in April, that yeah, okay, SlasheR might be gone for a few weeks, a month or so, then he's going to be back in business. But as it went down, like, that wasn't necessarily the case for Los Angeles Thieves. They did bring him back, of course, later in the title, when everything kind of kicked off and they make the Huke change and all this type of stuff happens, going into the LAN, and obviously the team fell off pretty drastically, but and then they brought Venom back out of the team, and SlasheR ended up coming back in. But still a pretty remarkable turn of events. This was Azaru and Venu put on the Reddit right here, pretty much breaking down the entirety of what he said. Of course, if you guys want to pause the video, read through some of this, of course you can watch the entire episode, which I'll link for you guys down below. But yeah, a lot's to really be discussed here. Kind of crazy to think about the fact that the Octane situation, right? Yes, we kind of knew and definitely, yeah, it was definitely a common secret, I suppose, within the scene that Octane was probably going to be joining Los Angeles Thieves at some point or another. But you did have to wonder, right? Like, could Octane and SlasheR could they be on the same team together? If LA Thieves were really good, would Octane be coming in? But SlasheR was pretty much convinced from the word go, from that transition from OGLA into Los Angeles Thieves, and how everything was going down there, that yeah, Octane would be here at some point or another, and he's already got a fight for his spot from the start of the year, and that was kind of the difficulty that he had, especially looking at other offers, right? When he was benched from the team, wasn't really happening. It looked like it might be chalked for the rest of the year, and then he said that the fact that he did go into champs in the last couple of events and put on a massive showing, that really helped his stock going into the new title to actually get a position back, because there were some people in the scene talking about, okay, is SlasheR done for? Like, is that going to be the end of his career? Is he going to step away? But how everything went towards the end of the year certainly helped his cause, but not happy by any means about the way the Los Angeles Thieves ran their organization last year, not only in terms of the way like he was dealt with individually, but also the way the team was managed on the whole. And you do have to wonder whether similar problems will pervade the team this year as well, right? Will they go down the same route to making all these roster changes, or will they actually try and keep a team for a long period of time and hope that that works out as well? Just to finish off with this from the Los Angeles Guerrillas, of course, the new team that SlasheR is going to be joining for this upcoming season, red pill or blue pill, or which trio of modes would you choose? On the left hand side, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2. Oh wait, it's a campaign multiplayer Spec Ops, interesting. And then blue pill is campaign multiplayer Zombies, campaign COD 4, multiplayer Black Ops 3, and then Zombies Black Ops. I might have to go with the blue pill here. It's honestly kind of tough to say, but yeah, I think I'm favoring this just because, I mean, I love all these games. COD 4 I didn't really get to play, but the campaign was absolutely spectacular in the Modern Warfare Remastered version. So anyway, might go for the blue pill. Maybe you can change my mind in the comment section below. Very much intrigued to your thoughts down there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really upset the YouTube bucket on you enjoy this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.